Okay, so understanding slope and y-intercept, block 5 student activity sheet. So what we're going to do is be taking a look at um, just more understanding how the slope and y-intercept work together in tables and graphs and equations. So question number 1 says, to use this data for the cost of e-radio subscriptions to answer the following question. So what is the rate of change and the y-intercept for e-radio? Well, for this, we can only look at the graph because the graph is e-radio and the table is mega radio. So that'll be different. So the rate of change for e-radio, well, remember the rate of change, we're also calling that the slope. So looking for the rate of change for e-radio, we look at our graph and let's see if we can plot some points and see where we're at here. Well, we know one point. Where is it? There it is. One point is right here at the origin, right? And from there, where's the next spot that it crosses someplace really handy? And if I go, well, it looks like we have a nice intersection right there, correct? So what is the rate of change? Well, remember, rate of change or slope, we'll call it M, right, for slope, is the change in y over the change in x. And in this case, if we label this point is 515. And this one here is, of course, 0, 0. So pretty easy to do this at this point. The change in y would be 15 minus 0 and 5 minus 0. Well, that's pretty straightforward. That's 15 over 5. And if we take that and divide that, well, then we get 3. So the rate of change for e-radio is 3. And if you want to abbreviate that, big R, little o, big C, rate of change equals 3. And the y-intercept is where that line crosses the y-axis. And where does it cross the y-axis? Well, it crosses it right here at 0. Okay. Now let's take a look at the next part. We're talking about mega radio. We want the rate of change and the y-intercept of mega radio. So if we take a look, remember we're still looking at the change in y over the change in x. So what is the change in y of mega radio? Now we go from 0 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 12, 12 to 16. So it looks like the change in y is 4. And the change in x, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, that's pretty easy. It's just 1. And so the change in y over the change in x would be 4 over 1, which is 4. So the rate of change in this case is 4. And the y-intercept, remember the y-intercept is when your x value or your input value is 0. And so that's the number of months. 0 months would be 0 cost. So the y-intercept in this case also happens to be 0. Okay, not too bad. Remember, if you have a question, just type a question mark into the chat and I will stop and answer your question. Are either of these proportional relationships? Why or why not? Well, do you remember what a proportional relationship is? So in order for something to qualify as a proportional relationship, all right, first of all, it has to be a you're going to have the rate of change. It's going to be a straight line. If it were on a graph, it would be a straight line. And it would pass through the origin. Whoop, come on. My pen's not writing. Here we go. So straight line has to pass through the origin at 0, 0. So when x is 0, y is 0. And there we go. So are either of these proportional relationships? Well, of course. Of course they are. They are both proportional because they have a constant rate of change, meaning it has a straight line, and also they both pass through 0, 0. When x is 0, y is 0. Okay, that's how we know that they are proportional relationships. All right, so let's create a 3-column table comparing the costs of the 2 radio subscriptions over 12 months. Now you can probably, you can write this in your math book at the same time that I am, or you could probably even work ahead of me just a tad. And so give me just a second here to find on my end here without having to scroll up, and there we go. This will work. So at month 0, the cost of e-radio was 0 according to the graph, and the cost of mega radio at 0 months was 0. Unless I'm mistaken, right? Which I don't believe I am. Okay. The cost of 1 month of e-radio. 1 month. What is it? Trying like a second here. So 1 month of e-radio is 3. 1 month of mega radio is 4. 2 months of e-radio is 6, because it has a constant rate of change, and that slope, that rate of change is 3, right? So it just keeps, for every month that it goes up by $3. So 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, and so on, 27, 30, 33, 36. All right. And mega radio, the constant rate of change is 4, so it means it goes up $4 every month. So 24, 28 for 7 months, 32 for 8, 36 for 9, 40 for 10, 44 for 11, and 48 for 12. Okay. Whew. Got it. And so that takes us on to our next question here. Create a graph of the 2 linear functions represented by e-radio and mega radio subscription costs. And let's compare the graphs. Okay, so e-radio, we'll make e-radio be the red line, okay? E-radio will be a red line. And so plot my points here. First of all, I know it's at 0, 0. So I'll put my dot there. And at 5, it was 15, I remember. So we can just go, oops, 10, 20. Wait a minute. Let's go back up. Where's my next logical intersection? Well, let's see. 6 weeks would be 18, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 12, 14, 16, 18. Okay, there we go. Looks like there should be appropriate for my other dot. And let's see. Oh, even better, 10 and 30. That's even better. Let's go with that. And so now I'm going to connect my lines, or my dots. I'm sorry, connect my dots with a line. Okay, so down here, connecting through there. Okay. And then with, that's E radio. And what was the other one? Mega radio will be in blue. So I know that it's going to cross through the y-axis at 0. And I remember at 10 weeks, it was $40. So you only need 2 points to create a line. So now I'll go back and put my line together. Start it here. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Hold on. Wrong thickness. I don't like doing thick lines. Call me crazy. You're crazy, Mr. Eaton. Why is it still doing me a thick line? Okay, there we go. One more time. Third time's a charm. There we go. Perfect. Look at that. Well, close anyway. It didn't quite cross through the origin, but you get the idea. All right. And of course, when we compare the graphs, it's fairly easy to see which of these is going to be the best deal, right? If you were going to purchase one or the other. Okay. The mega radio line is a steeper line, meaning that it obviously costs more, and the E radio line is less steep, and so it would cost less per month. All right, so now it says, how do the tables support what you observed in the graph? Well, the tables, well, let's see, I guess this should be something I should type. How do the tables support what we learned? Well, what we're observing in the graphs. Both tables have 0, 0. As the starting point where they cross the y-axis. So at 0 months, you're paying $0, right? What else? And the constant rate of change matches the table to the graph. All right, that's probably enough. Remember, if you have questions, anytime. All right, so that takes us to question number 5. And question number 5 is probably not going to get us where we need to go because it's 10:23. Oh, of course. We won't be able to finish question number 5 today because we're just about out of class time. So I'm going to stop the recording.